Have you ever wondered why some people take the biggest risks, while others are afraid of even the smallest things? Why is it that some people make major life decisions without a second thought, while others think 1,000 times before taking a single step? Is risk-taking an innate talent, given only to a special few? Or is it a skill that can be learned? Risk is a part of life. Whether we like it or not, we have to face it. But the question is, what is the right way to take a risk? Does it depend solely on luck and fate? Or is there a scientific logic behind it? If we could learn this art, could we then make the biggest decisions of our lives without fear? Today we're going to talk about a book that reveals the science behind risk-taking, The Art of Risk. This isn't just a book, it's a mindset. It teaches us how to control our fear, take calculated risks, and achieve extraordinary success in our lives. Risk-taking isn't just for day traders or adventure seekers. It's a skill anyone can develop. Whether you're in business, want career growth, or wish to make courageous decisions in your personal life, taking risks is essential. But there's a vast difference between taking the right risk and taking an unnecessary one. This book suggests that our brains have a system that decides whether we will accept a risk or shrink back in fear. Is there a way we can train our minds to take the right risk at the right time? Do our past experiences, our way of thinking, and our personality influence whether we become risk-takers? The book's biggest lesson is that fear is always the biggest obstacle to risk-taking. But the truth is, successful risk-takers aren't those who feel no fear at all. Rather, they are those who have learned to manage their fear. Risk-taking doesn't mean leaping recklessly without thinking. It means you understand your fear, clarify your goals, and then create a smart strategy to handle that risk. So, if you too want to become a brave and confident person in your life, if you want to be among those who follow their biggest dreams without fear, then this is for you. In this video, we will decode the most powerful strategies from The Art of Risk, which will teach you how to develop the right balance of risk-taking and control your fear to achieve success. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's begin this thrilling journey and learn the true art of taking a risk. Have you ever wondered why some people can jump from high cliffs, ride bikes at incredible speeds, or invest millions in a business idea without a hint of fear, while others are afraid to take even small risks? Is it just a matter of personality, or is there a hidden scientific logic behind it? This chapter reveals a startling truth. Risk-taking isn't just about luck or an inborn trait. It's a deep, wired biological process that happens inside our brains. Whenever we are in a risky situation, our brain quickly begins a calculation. Is this risk worth taking? Will the result be positive? Can we handle failure? And then our body reacts according to that calculation. But the interesting thing is, not everyone's brain processes risk the same way. Some people are naturally bigger risk takers, and some are more cautious. But why? The root cause is hidden in our brain. When we face a risk, our brain makes a decision based on three major systems: the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the dopamine system. The amygdala kicks into gear the moment we see a big risk. It sends an alert signal. Stop, this could be dangerous. So, when someone stands high up and looks down, or feels the fear of failure before starting a new business, the amygdala is at work. But the story doesn't end there. Our brain's prefrontal cortex analyzes that risk logically. It compares our past experiences, our goals, and the potential rewards from that risk. If the prefrontal cortex decides that taking the risk is the right move, it calms the amygdala and helps us move forward. And then there's the dopamine system. Dopamine, that feel-good chemical, is the part of our brain that gives us feelings of thrill and excitement. When we take a risk and are successful, our dopamine system sends a strong reward signal. Yes, that was fun. Do it again. This is why some people aren't afraid to take risks. They crave that thrill repeatedly. However, this dopamine system can sometimes push us to make wrong decisions. When a person shows extreme risk-taking behavior, like gambling, high-speed racing, or making unnecessarily dangerous decisions, it can be due to an overactive dopamine system. So, the question is, can risk-taking be controlled? Can we train our brains to take the right risks at the right time and avoid unnecessary ones? Yes, it's possible. If we understand these three systems well, we can manage our fear, improve our logical thinking, and control our dopamine system the right way. This chapter has a powerful message. Risk-taking isn't a random talent. It's a biological and psychological process that we can understand and master. Those who take smart risks create a perfect balance between their instincts, experiences, and logical thinking. They don't take risks without thought, nor do they miss opportunities because of fear. So, the next time you're faced with a big decision, ask yourself, is my amygdala holding me back? Is my prefrontal cortex analyzing this risk correctly? Is my dopamine system pulling me toward the right reward? If you understand this formula, you can handle any risk intelligently and achieve your biggest goals in life. Risk is an art, and it's possible to master it. You just have to understand your brain the right way. Have you ever seen people who hesitate to jump from high places, who ride bikes at high speeds, or who invest millions in new business ideas without fear? We think these people are fearless, but is that really true? Are some people born without fear? Or is that just a myth? This chapter shatters this big misconception. There is no such thing as fearlessness. The real truth is that every human feels fear, no matter how brave they look. The difference is simply that some people learn to manage their fear effectively, while others let fear defeat them. When we're in a risky situation, our brain immediately goes into alert mode. An invisible restlessness builds inside us. Our heartbeat quickens, our palms sweat, and the brain says, "Stop, this could be dangerous." This is our amygdala putting us into survival mode. This system has existed within us for thousands of years, and it helps save us from all kinds of danger. So, the next time you feel restless facing a risky decision, don't see it as a weakness. It's a signal that you're pushing your limits. Feeling fear is not wrong, but missing an opportunity because of fear is the biggest mistake of all. Fearlessness is a myth, but fear management is an art. This is the biggest lesson of this chapter. If you can learn this art, no fear will be able to stop you from reaching your dream life. Have you ever wondered why, in the same situation, some people move forward without any fear while others panic and retreat? Two entrepreneurs start new businesses. One becomes successful quickly, while the other becomes overwhelmed by problems. Why does this happen? Every person's risk-taking level is different. It's not a fixed thing. Rather, it works like a ladder. That is, every time we take a risk and succeed, our brain prepares for the next big risk. But when we repeatedly avoid risks, our confidence decreases, and gradually, we start to feel fear, even in small decisions. Think of a child trying to ride a bike for the first time. At first, they wobble and fall, but gradually, they learn to balance. When they manage to go a little way without falling, their confidence grows. Then they try to go faster, and within a few days, they're riding all over the neighborhood without fear. This is the risk ladder. By taking small risks, we prepare for bigger ones. But if that child gives up riding for fear of falling at the very beginning, they will never learn. Now, apply this to real life. Suppose you have a fear of public speaking. If you think that one day you'll be able to speak in front of thousands of people without fear, it will seem impossible. But if you take small steps, first speak in front of a friend, then in a small group, then in a meeting, your confidence will gradually increase and you will overcome your fear. The world's biggest risk takers have achieved success by climbing this same ladder. No one becomes an extreme risk taker overnight. Every big decision, every big adventure, every big success starts with small risks. This is why some people can handle high-risk situations so easily, because they have gradually developed their risk-taking ability. The biggest lesson from this chapter is that if you are afraid to take risks in your life, you don't need to take a huge risk right away. You just need to go one step up your risk ladder. Take on small challenges. Step out of your comfort zone and gradually leave your fear behind. Because if you always stay in your safe zone, your life will never change. But if you slowly build your risk-taking ability, you can achieve what seems impossible to you today. Risk is like a ladder. Small steps can take you to great heights. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Is risk-taking a talent some people are born with? Or is it a skill that can be learned and developed? This question is crucial. When we see a risk taker, be it a high-stakes entrepreneur or an extreme sports athlete, we think they have a superpower that allows them to make big decisions without fear. But the real truth is different. Risk-taking isn't magic. It's a skill you can learn through proper training. When we talk about taking risks, it doesn't depend only on luck or inborn courage. It depends on how prepared we are for that situation. Risk-taking isn't a coin toss. It's a calculated process, one you can improve by training your brain and body. Think of a firefighter entering a burning building. Do they jump in without thinking? No. They know how fire spreads. They know where to go and how to minimize danger. They have taken the training. They have done drills repeatedly. As a result, their brain is prepared to make the right decision at the right time. This is training for risk, preparing your brain and body so that when a high-stakes situation arises, you can make the right decision without fear. If you want to invest in a new business, would you put in millions without doing any research? Of course not. First, you would study the market, analyze data, and talk to experts. Then you would take a calculated risk. This is the real formula for risk-taking. The right preparation, the right knowledge, and the right execution. The most important thing for improving risk-taking is exposure. That is, if you are afraid of something, you need to repeatedly put yourself in that situation so your brain starts to perceive it as normal. When a firefighter enters a burning building for the first time, they might panic, but after repeated training, their brain starts to see that situation as normal, and they can complete the mission without fear. This concept applies to all kinds of risk-taking. The second most important thing for improving risk-taking is simulation. That is, before taking the real risk, you can practice it. Pilots practice in flight simulators before flying at thousands of feet. Doctors take virtual reality training before surgery, and athletes test their performance repeatedly. When your brain has already experienced a situation many times, the fear of taking the real risk decreases significantly. So, can anyone make themselves a smart risk taker? The answer is yes, absolutely. If you give yourself the right training, develop the right mindset, and gradually expose yourself, you too can be among those who take big risks in a smart way and achieve great success in their lives. So the question is, are you ready to train yourself for the next risk? Have you ever felt, before making a big decision, a voice inside you said, "This is right, do this"? Or, seeing a situation, you suddenly felt, "Something is wrong here, I should stay away"? This voice from within, what we often call a sixth sense or a gut feeling, is intuition. And did you know that the world's biggest risk takers rely most on this intuition when making decisions? Intuition isn't magic or a mystery. It's an extremely powerful decision-making tool in our brain that we often neglect. Intuition gives us the power to sense things that our conscious mind finds difficult to understand immediately. When an experienced doctor diagnoses a disease without tests, when an investor puts money into a big company without seeing much data, or when a soldier can sense an unknown danger beforehand, all of this is the power of intuition. So how does intuition work? When we have a new experience, our brain stores that experience within itself. This stored information and patterns accumulate in our unconscious mind. When we are in a risky situation, our brain quickly scans these past experiences and sends us a signal without any logical analysis. This is right, or this is wrong. That is intuition. To understand this, take a simple example. Imagine you are visiting a new city and you see two roads. One is clean, tidy, and well lit, while the other is dark and deserted. Without much thought, your mind will tell you the first road is safer. Why? Because your brain has created a pattern from your past experiences and stories you've heard since childhood, suggesting that deserted, dark roads can be dangerous. That is intuition. Risk-taking works in the same way. When a professional poker player guesses whether their opponent has good cards without seeing them, when a stock market trader correctly predicts a company's share price rise or fall, or when an athlete makes the right decision without thinking. All of this happens because of the intuition that comes from their years of experience. So the more experience you gain in something, the sharper your intuition will become. However, there's a catch. Intuition isn't always right. Sometimes our brain creates wrong patterns based on past experiences, and we can make wrong decisions. That's why it's said that sharpening your intuition requires two things. First, gaining more and more experience. And second, cross-checking your intuition with data and logic. This means you shouldn't blindly trust only your intuition. Rather, you should balance it with logical thinking. The biggest advantage of intuition in risk-taking is that it helps us make quick decisions. When we don't have time to think too much, when we have to act immediately, our conscious mind can't process that quickly. But our intuitive mind is already prepared. This is why experienced people can make faster and more accurate decisions, because their intuition is already sharp. So the biggest lesson from this chapter is that intuition can work like a superpower, but it needs to be developed. The more you put yourself in new experiences, the more you learn from your past mistakes, the better your intuitive power will become. And when your intuition becomes strong, you will be able to make quick and correct decisions in any risky situation. So the question is, are you ready to unlock the power of your intuition? Have you ever wondered why some people are prepared to take risks in any situation, while others avoid even the slightest risk? Some people aren't afraid to jump from heights, ride bikes at high speeds, or invest millions in a new business, while others think 1,000 times about small things. Why does this happen? Is risk-taking a habit, a learnable skill, or part of our personality? Risk-taking isn't just one type of behavior. It's part of our personality. That is, every person's ability to take risks is different, and it largely depends on how our brain is wired. When we talk about risk-taking, it's not just a choice. It's connected to our biology, psychology, and past experiences. Some people have a very active dopamine system in their brain, which pulls them toward thrill and excitement. This is why some people are more interested in adventure sports, gambling, and high-stakes business. Their brain encourages them to constantly seek new things. On the other hand, some people's brains are more cautious, telling them to analyze every risk and stay safe. Risk-taking personality can be divided into 3 distinct categories. Some people are naturally high-risk takers, some are moderate risk takers, and some are low-risk takers. High-risk takers are those who get excited about any new challenge. They constantly need something new and know how to embrace uncertainty. Moderate risk takers are those who take calculated risks. That is, they make thoughtful decisions, but they don't hesitate to take big steps when necessary. Low risk takers are those who prioritize stability. They want to be safe in every situation and avoid uncertainty. Now the question arises, can a risk-taking personality be changed? The answer is yes, it's possible. Risk-taking isn't a fixed characteristic. Rather, it's influenced by our habits, environment, and experiences. If someone is a low-risk taker, they can gradually increase their risk-taking ability. When we put ourselves in small, risky situations and handle them successfully, our brain starts to see risk-taking as normal. Similarly, high risk takers need to learn when and how much risk to take so they can avoid unnecessary losses. The biggest advantage of understanding your risk-taking personality is that you will recognize your strengths and weaknesses. If you naturally avoid risk, you can challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone. And if you're too much of a risk taker, you can control yourself to make more calculated and thoughtful decisions. The biggest lesson from this chapter is that a risk-taking personality isn't permanent. If you want, you can change your mindset. You can expand your comfort zone and balance your decisions. True success is achieved by those who understand their nature and strive to improve themselves. So, the question is, are you ready to understand your risk-taking ability and make it better? Risk is a word that brings excitement to some and fear to others. But risk-taking isn't a random act. It's a learnable skill. It's connected to our brain's hardwiring, our experiences, and our personality. In this book, we've learned how our brain processes risk, how to manage fear, and how small, calculated risks can lead us to great success. The art of risk teaches us that anyone can become a smart risk-taker if they adopt the right mindset and the right training. The world's greatest entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders have developed their risk-taking skills and made big decisions by stepping outside their comfort zones. They haven't just conquered their fear. They've seen risk as an opportunity. The biggest lesson of this book is this: risk-taking isn't a coin toss. It's an art. The more you understand and practice it, the more you will be able to make brave and meaningful decisions in your life. Whether you want to advance in your career, start a new business, or take a big step in any area of your life, it's essential to understand and embrace risk rather than run from it. If you liked this book and learned something new from it, be sure to try to apply it in your life. Risk-taking is the bridge that can take you from an ordinary life to extraordinary success. So, the next time a big decision comes your way, ask yourself, is this risk worth taking? If the answer is yes, then ask, how can I take it in a smart way? Let us know in the comments what you thought of this book and which book summary you'd like to see next. We'll see you in the next video with a new book, a new lesson, and a new mindset. Keep learning, keep growing,